How's it going here? Welcome back to the channel. And today we've got some hardware security keys that can be used in two-factor authentication from Yubico. So here's some information about the company. They've been in business for a long time. They've been making these hardware security keys for a while now. They're based out of Sweden. And they sent me a couple of their latest security keys NFCs. So this security key C series is probably going to be for most everyday people. It works with most online accounts, like you can see here, all the popular ones like your Google account, Facebook, Twitter, a whole bunch of things, Microsoft account, etc. So they have a whole bunch of different keys on their website with different levels of security or encryption. So all the way to government level down to the security key series, which is useful for most online accounts and is probably the one that most people are going to be most interested in getting. And so, like I said, this is used in two-factor authentication, which is becoming much more popular these days with all the popularized and advertised or reported on, I should say, hacks that have been going on with some of these larger companies. And so more and more accounts I can see here and companies are supporting this method of authentication. And so what it basically is a second factor for your authenticating to make sure that whoever's logging into the account is who they say they are. And so usually the first factor in two-factor authentication is a login or password that you type in. And then once you log in with your username and password, you're required for a second factor, which can be something you know, which is something like a PIN number or, you know, those security questions or secret questions that some accounts ask you for and that you respond to, like, you know, what was your second grade teacher or what city were you born in? That obviously isn't the most secure because people can possibly guess that. Then there is the option for something that you are. So, you know, things like more biometrics. So fingerprints, eye scanners, voice prints, those kind of things. And so they're not as common, they're pretty more advanced. And probably the most common second factor authentication are things that something you have. So most people use like a smartphone. So you probably have seen this where you log into your account and then they'll send you a password or a PIN to your phone and you use that as the second method of authentication. And so YubiKey is also something you have. It is a hardware key. So it's more secure than using your phone because, you know, phones are vulnerable to attacks. People can remote hack into your phone and possibly get into that. Hardware keys are much more secure because they don't store any data. They don't use a network connection and they don't run any kind of software. So they're going to be a lot more secure. The only question or the only concern is that you're going to always have to have it on you when you log into your account. And so that's why they try to make it as small as possible, as portable as possible, and they usually have these kind of keychain holes so you don't lose them. But if you want something more secure than something like texting to your phone and you want a hardware key, this is a good option. They recommend that you have 2 keys and you set up 2 keys per account because if you lose one, store the second one in a safe location, you'll always have a backup just in case. And so like I said, Yubico has a bunch of different types of keys that support multiple different devices. So they have things like this that support USB-A. Obviously Type-C is very popular. They also have Apple Lightning. So if you have an iPhone, you can plug it into an iPhone, or keys like this that support NFC. So if you have a smartphone that supports NFC, like an iPhone or an Android phone, you can just tap the key to it without having to plug it in. And so generally how this works is that you go ahead and set this up, and it'll vary by account. So, but generally you go into your account settings, you go into the security settings on your account. There'll usually be an option for two-factor authentication. And then within that, you can select hardware keys and then follow the instructions for that particular account on how to set up your YubiKey. So I've set this up to work with my Google account. So I'll show you how to go ahead and log in and use the keys to get into your account on both an iPhone and an Android phone. All right, so I'm here with my Galaxy S22 Android phone. I'm going to sign into my Google account here. And it's going to ask me how I want to authenticate with my security key. I'll say with NFC, and then I'll just hold it to the back of the phone here. And as you can see, it authenticated just by tapping the security key on the back of the phone. And I'll hit agree and it'll log me in. Okay, so I'll do it again with my Galaxy S22. This time I'll use the actual USB input here. So I'll enter my username and then I'll enter my password. And so now I'll just say security key with USB, and now ask me to connect my security key into the USB port here. And it'll be flashing, so I'll just tap the key and it'll log me into my account. All right, so now I have the iPhone 13 Pro. We'll go ahead and authenticate into my Google account with the NFC portion of the security key. So I'll put in my username and I'll put in my password. And now it says connect to your security key. So just tap next and hold the security key next to the phone. So I'll tap next, and now I'll hold it next to the phone here, up around the back area. And you can see there it authenticated into my Google account. So there you go. That's how you can set up and use your security key NFC from Yubico on your iPhone or Android phone for specifically your Google account, but you can set it up on any of the supported online accounts. And of course, it's always recommended to set up a secondary key just in case you lose your primary key. So I'm going to go ahead and set this one up right after this. So I have a backup key in case I lose this one. So any other questions or comments about the Yubikey, specifically about this NFC product, drop a comment down below and I'll try to answer what I can. And as always, thanks for watching.